Good morning. Happy Thursday. Good to see you guys. Let me pop out the chat quick. See who's here. Mr. Crypto Frank, my man. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Mr. Yeti in the chat. We have Overboard Tech, Miss Pocket Change, Crypto Tito, Steven Cicero, Nerd Beast. What's up, man? Good to see you, buddy. Peepaw Bill. What's up, bud? Good to see you. Dan R, Chris Hanley, Integra Guy, Financial Failure. Good to see you, buddy. Honda Bits. Thanks for the super chat. The 20 DKK. I don't know what any of that means. I don't know what any of that super chat means, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's see. Who else did I miss? If I missed anybody and you want to be announced, just let me know in the chat, because clearly I can't see anybody else. So I think I already said most people, but good to see you guys. Good morning. Let's see how we are looking today. Over here, crypto bubbles. Let's jump over to the actual coin 360. 30,251 Bitcoin. At least we're over 30K again. My daughter is here. Hold on one second. Hi. All right. Your hair is a mess. All right. $1,900 ETH. We have, let's see. Where is Litecoin at, actually? Litecoin halving is coming up in less than 2 weeks. We have a $94 Litecoin. Dogecoin's at 7 cents. Not too bad. Guys, only bear with me for 1 second. All right, sorry, I had to get her situated. I didn't expect her to come down. I didn't even think she was out of bed yet. All right, let me see. What am I doing? Mr. David G. Sorry, David, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Let's see.
Question: where do people that have mined or do mine KDA swap/sell it?
You know what? That's a good question. That is a good question. I don't mind KDA, but you can go to let me see this. Simpleswap.io, I think, has KDA. If you're just trying to find somewhere quick, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. So simpleswap.io, you can actually just swap it for whatever you want. Basically, that's, on this list. So this is kind of a simple way to do it. Let me just bring this up so you can see KDA right here. And they also have a place called Swap Space. Where is it? Swap Space. This right here. This should have KDA as well. So sorry for getting off topic this morning. My daughter threw me off, and then the super chat I wanted to answer. But yeah, so these are the two sites that I would use personally. That isn't like an exchange. I mean, I'm sure there's exchanges you guys can swap KDA on, but like Trade Ogre, Retro Mike says, but I would rather do it through one of these things than make an account over at Trade Ogre. That's just me personally, but you guys do what you want. All right, let's check crypto bubbles. What is the daily earner? Let's see. Let me bring this up big. This is the week. 71% on XLM and XRP for the week. On the day, XLM is up 20%, Link's up 21.4. Damn, not too bad. Not too bad. Hex, man, this one, I don't know what's up with this coin. I feel like the guy that's behind this one just kind of gives me some weird vibes. I don't know what you guys think about it. I always ask. Mr. Chad Wicks, thanks for being a member for 3 months. Perfect. Yeah, it's still paying for this like a chump, JK. Appreciate you, buddy. You're awesome. All right, let's check out the top 10 coins by coin market cap. Then we'll check out the Fear and Greed Index. We got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, XRP, BNB, USD Coin, Ladder Staked Ether, Cardano, Solana, and Dogecoin. Man, Litecoin still in 13th. That's crazy. This thing dropped 4 pegs in the last couple weeks. Interesting. All right, so I don't blind you guys. Let's go to the Fear and Greed. Looking at 56 in the greed. Pretty neutral to me, to be honest. All right, first things first, I want to start off with this today. This is Crypto World's, more or less, they're going to be talking about, it's like a recap of the day, right? Started yesterday, or they do it in the afternoons, the day before. They're talking about some, the Google Play Store actually implementing digital assets into their store. So you'll be able to, get NFTs and stuff, or something along those lines with the Google Play Store. I don't know if the games will allow you to purchase NFTs or what the deal is with that, but let's listen to what the guy over at Google has to say and a little roundup of news. And without further ado, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Let's do it.
Today, NASDAQ halts plans for a crypto custody service because of the regulatory environment in the U.S. 2 GOP congressmen criticized the SEC's approach to regulating crypto in a scathing letter sent to Gary Gensler. And Apple App Store founding director Philip Shoemaker discusses Google Play's move to allow developers to incorporate digital assets into apps on the platform. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Crypto prices are in the green today, but Bitcoin traded below the $30,000 level for a second straight day. Ether, however, climbed back above the $1,900 mark, and Ripple's XRP token shot up more than 5% following last week's partial victory for the crypto company in its long battle with the SEC. All these prices are, of course, as of noon Eastern. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. NASDAQ is halting its plans for a crypto custody service. During NASDAQ's earnings call this morning, CEO Adena Friedman said the change is a result of the, quote, shifting business and regulatory environment in the U.S. A spokesperson stressed that while the effort to pursue relevant licensing for being a custodian has been stopped, NASDAQ continues to focus on the development and delivery of custody technology solutions. NASDAQ announced the intent to launch a U.S. custodian business in September 2022, and it was slated to go live in the second quarter of this year. Meantime, overseas, Société Générale has become the first company in France to obtain a license for crypto services. According to the website of France's market regulator, the French bank's crypto unit is now licensed to offer services, including crypto custody. Next, the Senate is getting ready to take another stab at regulating the crypto industry with a new bill that would place stringent anti-money laundering requirements on DeFi protocols. That's according to CoinDesk, which cited a description of the bill that the media outlet had reviewed. The Crypto Asset National Security Enhancement Act of 2023 would reportedly require DeFi protocols to impose bank-like controls on their user base. CoinDesk.
So that one thing right there kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. Isn't the whole point of DeFi not to be decentralized or have any rules? Isn't that kind of the entire thing behind DeFi? But whatever.
Also reported that the bipartisan bill intends to, quote, fight the rise in crypto-facilitated crime and close off avenues for the evasion of money laundering and sanctions measures that are critical to our national security.
Like, that stuff I agree with. Obviously, cutting off people being able to hack shit is a good idea. But just overall, that's kind of weird.
Now, the bill was introduced yesterday by Senator Jack Reed, a member of the Senate Banking Committee. We reached out to his office to review the new bill, but didn't hear back right away. Sticking with politics, Republican Congressman French Hill and Dusty Johnson blasted the SEC's approach to regulating crypto and suggested the agency's actions were timed to overshadow and undermine efforts to write comprehensive legislation for the industry. In this letter sent today to SEC Chair Gary Gensler, the representatives argued that the approach of regulation by enforcement does not result in compliance and customer protection, but instead creates further confusion. They added that certain actions by the commission seem to be timed to coincide with related congressional activity, which, quote, appears calculated for maximum publicity and political impact. We reached out to the SEC for comment, but didn't hear back right away. Last, a Nigerian cyber scammer who was a United Arab Emirates resident and lived an extravagant lifestyle on social media was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison for orchestrating a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme that victimized businesses across the U.S. Illinois federal prosecutors said in a news release yesterday that the scammer was extradited from the UAE into the custody of the FBI in 2020, where he remained until pleading guilty to a single wire fraud count earlier this year. He was ordered.
Wait, he's been held since 2020? That's crazy.
To pay $8 million in restitution after already surrendering more than 150 Bitcoin to the U.S. government. He's also been ordered to hand over several high-end watches and cars.
I want to know who that is.
All right, on to our main story. Google Play announced a major shift in its policy last week. It will now allow developers to incorporate digital assets like NFTs into their apps and games in the store. So I spoke.
All right, so they get to incorporate digital assets and NFTs into their games in like their store, so you can like purchase them through the app type deal. That's kind of cool.
With Apple App Store founding director Philip Shoemaker about the implications.
So we've been talking for a while about institutional adoption of crypto, and usually we speak about that in the context of Wall Street. But just last week, we had Google announce that it would allow NFT purchases both in apps and games on its platform. You helped build Apple's App Store, and I'm wondering if you can kind of walk us through the significance of this move by Google and how it differs to their past approach to the crypto sector.
I think it is an interesting movement for Google. In the past, it has been Apple that has kind of extended these guidelines, and Google has followed suit. It's very surprising and very exciting to see Google do the opposite, right? So they're taking the lead on this, leaving Apple in the dust with regards to NFT adoption and NFT usage. So for me, I see this as a huge win for the Android environment, the whole Android ecosystem, because it gives these Web3 developers a direction to release something on mobile rather than having to do non-native web-based apps. You can actually do a native app now on Android to support NFTs and in the future, hopefully other crypto-related assets.
And what is Apple's approach right now? How does it compare?
Well, Apple, for the most part, they'll let you use NFTs in your app, providing it doesn't unlock functionality, providing it doesn't, and providing that you pay the 30% to purchase an NFT, which is the big thing that stops everyone from using NFTs on the Apple ecosystem. Affording 30% in an NFT marketplace is just impossible to do. There's no margins there for them to be able to leverage it. So right now, it's basically non-existent. I don't believe Apple is a big fan of crypto from what I remember back at my time there. So I don't think we're going to see any movement in the Web3 space from Apple for quite some time.
Just generally speaking, how has big tech's acceptance of crypto shifted after all the chaos that we saw in 2022?
Well, it's been slow, right? The shift has been slow. I haven't seen a lot of adoption as of late, but I think as we see more of these older financial companies like BlackRock getting into the crypto space with the Bitcoin ETF and other things, I think we're going to start seeing more tech adoption moving forward.
Obviously, crypto was a big deal in 2021 into part of 2022, but now so much of the interest in terms of VC dollars, in terms of corporate investments, has shifted to generative AI. Can these two sectors, crypto and AI, still garner that same level of attention, or is crypto had its time in the sun and now you're going to see a lot of those investments funneled just towards AI?
Yeah, I think, look, I think generative AI, which is an amazing market, amazing direction to go. I'm leveraging it in different use cases as well. I think that really needs to be at the front, first and foremost, right at the front, because of the amazing impact it can have on the future of work in general. But crypto is not going to go away, right? We're still going to be plugging away. People will still be continuing to just put their heads down and get some work and really work on the backbone, work on the integrity of these systems so they stop getting hacked, and to push the fraudsters out of this space. And the two of them together, I think generative AI in places like identity and others are going to be really helpful to be able to weed out the bad actors from the.
How about personally for your own business? How has sentiment shifted your strategy for identity.com?
It hasn't shifted much at all, right? We are continuing to plug away on identity. We want to solve the decentralized identity solution. If we can figure out a way to work with generative AI to make that more realistic for users, make it more usable for people, that's what we're doing. But for the most part, we're just continuing to plug ahead on our roadmap, heads down, coding away.
Now, you mentioned fraudsters. How big a problem is this still?
I found this out at the App Store. As soon as you're in the position of making developers money, developers are going to try to fraud you out of money. So I think it's still there. We're going to continue seeing it happen. Look, the stuff that went down last year with SBF, with Celsius, et cetera, we've got a long way to go in this industry. We lost a lot of reputation and integrity, and there are still people out there that are putting out bad coins and trying to get people to invest in them. We got to get rid of that and start focusing more on the problems at hand, not a quick get rich quick scheme. That's what's really taking this industry down.
So how do you solve that in crypto if you say that that's what's holding it back? Is it regulation from Capitol Hill? Does it come from self-policing of this sector?
To me, it should always have been about self-policing. The fantasy that people said, like FTX and these other companies didn't put their transaction on the books, et cetera, because they didn't have regulation, was a fallacy. We can easily look to the financial world and say, let's do what they're doing with regards to data protection and transparency of our assets, and heck, holding on to assets that you should be, and not commingling users' funds, investors' funds with crypto funds, et cetera. You have to separate these things. These things were always there. We just didn't have, there was no transparency there. So I think I believe that regulation will help clear this up. I don't think it needs to be. We need to self-regulate. 100% we need to self-regulate. But, people are trying to always just trying to get out there quick, do it the easy way. And then they see all the problems that come from doing it that way.
Facts. Well, I appreciated that interview, but I really wish they took some time and had a better environment, because that audio quality was terrible. Anyways, that was it was pretty neat, and it's nice to see that. I guess the Play Store is going to be implementing things like that. That just leaves more room for, say, like Neoxa games, like crypto games like that, stuff like that to grow. It's nice. Good old scumbag Apple. right to repair for the win, says Duke Nukem. Let's see. All right, I put a poll in the chat just because I wanted to see how many of you guys have Androids over Apple, and my IQ is down like at least half today because I own Apple. And there's 36% of you that chose Apple, and 64 said Android. So I guess I'm gonna have to steal one of those Verus coin miner phones that I just purchased and use it for a daily. Damn it. All right, fine. Apple sucks. All right. Apple equals basic bitch, says DJ. Oh, you suck. All right, let's get into this. This is the Bitcoin halving. So this actually, Anthony Pompliano, if you guys don't know who he is, go his own channel. He's fantastic. I'll actually put a link to his channel down in the description below, but it's this video that we're going to watch from Altcoin Daily. It was like a little bit of an interview, and he goes over the Bitcoin halving and kind of explains it in detail and how it's actually a good thing overall. So I thought it was quite interesting. Again, I'll leave a link to this video, and I'll get Anthony Pomps and I'll put his in there as well. So go check that out in the description after the fact. But no further ado, if you guys have any questions during this, please feel free, just shout it out.
Yeah, I think the price will go up, right? I mean, you basically have a supply shock to an asset.
Today, I sit down with Bitcoin expert Anthony Pompliano, and we discuss everything you need to know for the upcoming Bitcoin halving. So think of this as your cheat sheet, your ultimate guide.
I didn't see that. I didn't watch this, so I listened to it. Let me bring that back up. Let's see, where was it? A little bit before. There we go. That's kind of neat. So this is where we're going to, as you guys know, 2024, 3.125. 2020, this is where we went to, right? So it's crazy. 2009, it was at 50 Bitcoin. Then it went down to 25, then 12.5, 6.25, 3.125. So it's going to get significantly worse after this. Like, I feel like a jump from the 12.5 to 6.25 was pretty significant. Obviously, cutting it literally in half is a lot, but seeing where it's at now, it can only be halved so many more times for it to make a huge difference. Like, this is like the last real big difference, at least in my opinion, but I don't know. Overall, it's going to be crazy. Mr. Kaiser, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. You're awesome, buddy. Let's see.
Love you, brother. Love your community. Keep the future of crypto alive. It's been a great adventure. This is Kaiser signing off. Victory hand.
Appreciate you, Mr. Kaiser. Thank you so much, buddy. Have a good day. I'll catch you soon.
Sheet,
right,
your ultimate guide, so you are prepared for what's going to happen in 2024. And before we talk about the price impact, Pomp, what is the halving?
Yeah, the Bitcoin halving basically is approximately every 4 years. The Bitcoin reward, which is the amount of Bitcoin that's included for miners when they mine the block of transactions, gets cut in half. And so it started out, it was 50 Bitcoin for about 4 years, and then it went down to 25 Bitcoin, then eventually 12.5, 6.25 where it is today. That translates to about 900 Bitcoin a day. And it's going to get cut about 10 months from now to 3.25 or whatever it is, 3.125. And it'll be
real quick. Now I'm going to put a poll in the chat. I want to know if you guys have at least this amount. 0.01 Bitcoin. Now, this is what we were talking about yesterday a little bit. In summary, buying 0.01 Bitcoin, which at the current prices equates to an investment of around $500, can secure a top 13 position in the world. That is the amount of people that can actually ever own 0.01.
This is not an airport. No need to announce your departure. _Gensler.
Appreciate you, Mr. Condibits, and yeah, Kaiser.
Gotcha,
Appreciate you, buddy. All right, but seriously, this is a big deal. And later on in life, this is going to this really could, I guess, make a difference in your future and your loved one's future if you guys at least own a little bit. If Bitcoin does blow up to a point where it becomes, something massive, like I personally think it will be. But again, each his own. I'm gonna put a poll in the chat though in just a second.
About 450 Bitcoin per day that will come out. And so the reason why that's important is it is essentially a telegraphed change to the monetary policy of Bitcoin. And so unlike the legacy financial system where we don't know what the central bank is going to do next week, at least here we know well out in advance, years in advance, when and what is going to happen to the monetary policy. So it's pretty crucial.
Something that's very different for Bitcoin halving versus gold mining is if gold is really being hyped up and, there's a lot of demand for gold, people can just invest in more gold miners. And then that brings more gold into the ecosystem, dilutes the supply. Bitcoin is very different because no matter what the demand is, you can only get the certain amount per block. Could you go into that?
Yeah, just think about the price of any asset is determined by supply and demand, right? Went to an economics 101 course. It's like the first thing they teach you. And so when you think of supply and demand, usually they are both variable components of that equation, meaning that
Mr. Condibus, thank you so much.
You are not a boober. We don't care if you bounce. Lol.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate the 50 DKK.
if you look at US dollars, how many dollars are going to be in circulation? Well, if you looked at that in 2020, you probably wouldn't have predicted that trillions more dollars be put into the system in the next 18 to 24 months. But also at the end of 2021, you wouldn't have thought that they were going to drain liquidity. And therefore, the central bank was going to take $1 trillion off their balance sheet. So the supply ends up being very variable. Demand obviously is variable as well. So sometimes people really want something, sometimes nobody wants something. And so when you have two kind of moving targets of supply and demand, it becomes complex and difficult to predict where is the equilibrium? What is the price of that asset? Where is it going to clear in the market from buyers to sellers? The thing about Bitcoin is that the supply is fixed. It is a programmatic monetary policy, meaning that from day one, there was a monetary policy that was written into software code, and that software code simply executes based on the parameters and instructions that it has. And so part of that monetary policy is the total number of Bitcoin that will ever be available, 21 million Bitcoin. A second component to that monetary policy is these halvings going from 50 to 25, 12 and a half, et cetera. And so the reason why it is important to understand that there's a fixed supply side of this equation is that you can model out the supply. Give me a date and I can tell you how many Bitcoin are going to be in circulation on that date. Because I know what the monetary policy is, I can go in and I can audit it with the code. Now, there is still a variable demand side to the equation. In the end of 2021, a lot of people wanted Bitcoin. So the price was really high. At the end of 2022, not so many people wanted Bitcoin. That's why the price was low. And so that variation still can create oscillation between the prices on kind of milestones of Bitcoin, but it is much easier to go ahead and model out future Bitcoin performance because at least 50% of the equation, the supply side is fixed and known, and now we just have to worry about the demand side. So that's really one of the kind of benefits of Bitcoin and its monetary policy.
It's very true.
I look at charts of past Bitcoin's halvings, and I see about 12 months after the halving occurs, price goes up. Do you think this will have a price impact?
It has to have a price impact, right?
So.
Whether it is up 500%, 20%, or down 20%, it has to have an impact. And so there's this belief in traditional finance of the efficient market hypothesis, which is complete bullshit. The fact that someone won a prize for this is like laughable. The theory is that when everyone has the same information, the market prices that information correctly, and therefore the market is quote unquote efficient, right? Everyone is acting on the same information, and therefore everyone then creates this kind of efficient price or kind of equilibrium. By nature, that is a falsifiable kind of statement when I tell you, if I give you and I the same exact amount of information, and then I ask you what's going to happen, and you think it's good for the asset, and I think it's bad for the asset, how can there be an efficient market? How can it be, even if we have the exact same of information, we come to different conclusions? Of course, there's no efficient market. The whole point of a market is that it is inefficient. There's opportunities for buyers and sellers to come together, express their view in the market, and to take financial positions to benefit from those opinions becoming reality. And so if there was an efficient market, then we wouldn't have a need for investors or any sort of market clearing type activity. And so the reason why I start with this, kind of destruction of the efficient market hypothesis is because when you look at the Bitcoin halving, even if 100% of people knew what the Bitcoin halving was and 100% of people knew when it was going to happen, there still would be some subset of people who thought that it was bullish, some subset of people who thought it was bearish, and some subset of people who thought it was agnostic. They didn't care either direction.
Not wrong.
And so those people take different positions in the market to express their view or their opinion, and therefore that has an impact on price. Now, does it go up? Does it go down? That's anyone's guess. When does it go up? When does it go down? Anyone's guess. And one of the things that we've seen in the past is there's been kind of a buy the rumor, sell the news around the halving. Leading into the halving, price kind of runs up. Halving happens, price doesn't explode immediately. So kind of draws down a little bit, goes sideways. And then to your point, 9, 12, 15 months later, then the price seems to go up quite a bit. And so it's interesting to me because when you look at that through the efficient market hypothesis, you're like, man, this doesn't make any sense. If everyone knows that the Bitcoin halving is going to happen, then you would expect everyone to act the same way. But in my opinion, it just simply proves the fact that markets are inefficient, and that is where opportunity exists. You wouldn't invest in a market that was fully efficient because there would be no returns to be kind of gained or captured. And therefore, the Bitcoin halving has to have an impact on price, and it has to have different people taking different positions. And so when that occurs, anyone who tells you the Bitcoin halving doesn't matter just doesn't understand how markets work.
Now, quick question. Do you guys think that the Bitcoin halving is going to drive the price up or down? Let me know. I'm kind of interested. Just throw it in the chat. I would assume it's going to go up, but it's probably not going to go up for about a year and a half if I had to guess. But I don't know. I wonder what you guys think. Let me know.
There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence ever. Yet the last Bitcoin won't be mined for over 100 years. So what happens? What changes after that last Bitcoin is mined?
Well, from a practical standpoint, anyone who's watching this right now in 2023, you should just stop thinking about it because you're going to be dead. But let's say that for people who are watching this 100 years from now, the current belief is that the transactions fee for the Bitcoin network will be enough to economically incentivize the miners to continue to mine the network, to continue to help contribute their computing power, secure the network, etc. There has been a subset of people who disagree with that. They are critics. They say that is not going to be true. Recently, with the rise of inscriptions and ordinals, we saw for the first time ever that the fee revenue that miners were able to capture outpaced the block reward. And so this kind of proved the point that, yes, even now today, while there still is a block reward, we can have fees spike high enough where actually miners can make more money from the fees rather than they can from the block reward.
Frank.
So again, who knows what's going to
happen? As BTC halves, it becomes less and less profitable for miners, but companies like BlackRock, Fidelity and JP Morgan will buy up the mining farms, giving them an additional profit line from BTC transactions. BTC up.
Very, very true, sir. Thank you so much for the $19.99 super chat, and I feel much better that you're not donating like a crazy person. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Anything matters. You're awesome. Thank you so much, buddy. All right, let's real quick. Actually, I wanted to see when the last Bitcoin block. I was just gonna put it in the chat, and then I saw the super chat. So right here, the maximum supply of 21 million Bitcoins will be reached around the year 2140. We'll all be dead at that point, but regardless, I mean, we still have over 100 years before this actually happens. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, Crypto Frank, you brought up a good point. That is very, very true. All right, let's continue. I'm going to actually back it up just a little bit so we can listen to this again. I apologize. And okay.
There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence ever. Yet the last Bitcoin won't be mined for over 100 years. So what happens? What changes after that last Bitcoin is mined?
Well, from a practical standpoint, anyone who's watching this right now in 2023, you should.
Carnibits, thank you so much for the 20 DKK. You all just get your BTC.
You all just get your BTC. Leave my Kylo alone.
Leave the Kylo coin alone.
Just stop thinking about it because you're going to be dead. But
we'll
let's say that for people who are watching this 100 years from now, the current belief is that the transactions fee for the Bitcoin network will be enough to economically incentivize the miners to continue to mine the network, to continue to help contribute their computing power, secure the network, etc. There has been a subset of people who disagree with that. They are critics. They say that is not going to be true. Recently, with the rise of inscriptions and ordinals, we saw for the first time ever that the fee revenue that miners were able to capture outpaced the block reward. And so this kind of proved the point that, yes, even now today, while there still is a block reward, we can have fees spike high enough where actually miners can make more money from the fees rather than they can from the block reward. End of 2022.
Oh, shit, I totally just skipped that by accident. My bad. All right, so I hit the bar. I meant to pause it. So that was a good thing that he just brought up, though. He's kind of saying that so the fees that will continuously drive up will support the miners long term versus the actual block reward, which is kind of interesting to think about, right? Now I got to find out where the hell we were, so I apologize.
The network to continue to help contribute their computing power, secure the network, etc.
Like right there.
There has been a subset of people who disagree with that. They are critics. They say that is not going to be true. Recently, with the rise of inscriptions and ordinals, we saw for the first time ever that the fee revenue that miners were able to capture outpaced the block reward. And so this kind of proved the point that, yes, even now today, while there still is a block reward, we can have fees spike high enough where actually miners can make more money from the fees rather than they can from the block reward.
I wonder if that'll carry us.
Again, who knows what's going to happen? I have no clue. Trying to predict what's going to happen in 6 months or a year from now is hard enough. Trying to understand what's going to happen in 117 years or whatever it is even harder. You're not going to have to worry about it. So I wouldn't spend too much time on it. But for those people who are living at that point, that's the current belief, is that simply the transaction fees will be enough to incentivize people to continue to mine Bitcoin.
How come nobody cares about the Litecoin halving? That's happening this year. Maybe traders do because price is increasing against the US dollar a little. What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't say no one cares, though. I mean, it's just it's way less significant than the Bitcoin halving, right? I mean, what do you guys think in the chat? That's kind of interesting. And yeah, guys, hit that like button. Appreciate you. 72 people here, 38 likes. Takes 2 seconds. Unless you're driving, totally have an excuse.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot of people, specifically in this industry, they have over time become hardened to the idea. There's this big universe out there now in the cryptocurrency space. And so, I don't know, there's 20,000, 25,000 different coins that you could go and look at. But same thing as in the traditional financial system, if you simply are able to focus and you're able to understand, okay, this specific thing, I want to get really, really well educated on.
Wife says I am limited now.
It doesn't matter how much you donate. Thank you, Joker Miner. Appreciate the 199 super chat.
Want to really understand it. They don't have a lot of time to look at other things, right? And that's why you see, back in 2017, 2018, if you went and you talked to an investment kind of organization or a trading organization, they had like one person who covered, 5 or 6 different areas of the industry, or maybe they had, 2 total people on the team. They could cover the whole industry. Today, that's not possible. You have Bitcoin, you have DeFi, you have NFTs, you have, all the gaming stuff. Like, you can just go through. There's so many different components to the industry that you can't have one person cover everything. And so that's where you start to get kind of specialization within these investment firms. And you start to actually even get, let's say a Bitcoin team or an NFT team or a smart contract team or however they want to kind of organize. What I do think is happening when it comes to Litecoin or any other coin, it's just there's only so much bandwidth people have. And so what occurs is that Bitcoin is the largest market. It's the most liquid market. It's the one the institutions seem the most interested in. It's the one that seems to have gotten through the regulatory threshold, and everyone agrees it's not a security. And so naturally, that's where a lot of attention is going to go, because it has the most liquidity and the most certainty. And therefore, that allows for people really to focus on it and deploy capital into the market.
That was a good explanation.
In our final 5-6 minutes, I want to expand more to macro, but just because I want this to be a everything you need to know video about the Bitcoin halving, just like in summation, could you address to those average people what to expect for the 2024 Bitcoin halving?
Yeah, I think the price will go up, right? I mean, you basically have a supply shock to an asset. You have something that right now 900 Bitcoin per day coming to the market, and the price has been going up in the last couple of weeks, which means that there are more buyers than there are sellers. If there's more buyers, that is net new demand into the market, and they're eating up not only the 900 Bitcoin that is being put into the market every day, but they're also there's more demand than that, and so they're having to buy coins from people who already have Bitcoin, and that's where you get the price continuing to go up. Well,
and with the like Fidelity, BlackRock, ETFs, all that stuff, it's only going to get easier and easier for newcomers to come in and purchase said Bitcoin.
of a sudden you go from 900 Bitcoin a day to 450 Bitcoin a day, that supply shock, cutting in half of the incoming daily supply. Obviously, if the demand stays the same, not even increases, just stays the same, then you are going to have the price go up over time because there's less Bitcoin coming into the market every day for the same amount of people who want that Bitcoin. Again, supply, demand, economics 101. Now, what is interesting about the Bitcoin halving also is as we get closer, the media starts getting louder. They begin to talk about it. They begin to say, oh, we're 10 days away. Oh, we're 4 days away. They go and they get a bunch of talking heads all chirping about what they think is going to happen. They have people come on YouTube and podcasts and Twitter, et cetera, and everyone starts talking about what's going to happen, what's going to happen. That's all marketing for Bitcoin, right? Is talking about the halving is marketing for Bitcoin. And so naturally demand increases around these events because more people hear about Bitcoin. They're like, oh, that didn't die. I thought that was dead a couple of years ago. Let me go check that out. And so that increases the demand. And so you have a supply shock. We're getting a 50% cut of the daily incoming supply, but you also get this demand shock where there is more incoming demand every single day. And that leads to cut the supply in half, increase the demand, price goes up over time.
I want to remind the audience, links for Pomp, Twitter, everything down below in the video description. Check it out. Macro-wise, Pomp, are we in for a deeper recession? What are your thoughts for the second half of this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, right? Like we had a recession and then they just like disqualified it. It was like, you know, the experts came in and they're like, no, 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. That's not a recession. It's a recession when we say it's a recession, which is kind of like a ridiculous thing. So like some people would argue like we already were in the recession. Other people would look and say, well, look at the consumer. The consumer has, you know, these really great things. Labor market's tight. There's kind of all these bullish, you know, signals or metrics that folks look at. Whether it is actually classified as a recession or not, I think is less important. What I do think is important is that there is very much a subset of the population who's going to experience greater financial pain at the expense of another part of the population. So if you go back and you look over 2020 into 2021, what happened was people with investable assets got richer, right? All those asset prices exploded higher. Those were all the kind of bull markets and the bubbles, et cetera, that formed. But the
Mr. Financial Failure, thank you so much for the 4269.
Little PP energy coming through.
Little PP energy.
Crypto Frank may be bigger, but I got the motion in the ocean, brother. Wag my.
Gotcha, bitch. Perfect.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate the super chat. You didn't have to do that, man. Thank you so much.
the people who live paycheck to paycheck and had 100% of their wealth in cash, they actually got punished, right? They lost purchasing power. They got the erosion of their savings. And so you had this bifurcation in society. Many people will point to the income inequality as kind of the product of that bifurcation that's been happening. What I think we're seeing happen right now is the exact same thing, where you're going to have kind of the bottom half of the kind of economic ladder. They are going to continue to receive more and more financial pain. At the same time, you're going to see the investment class continue to gain more and more wealth. The NASDAQ is up 32% to start the year. Bitcoin's up 85% to start the year. These are big numbers, regardless of whether they're already drawn down a lot or not. What you are seeing is double-digit returns in the first half of this year. And so usually if you get some sort of big jump in the beginning of the year in these financial markets, for the year, they will end up. Now, not always, but usually they will end up for the year. And that would suggest that people with investment assets will do better than people who don't have investable assets. And so I think you get kind of a bifurcation. And even if it is a official recession or not, the bottom half of the economic ladder is going to continue to feel a lot of pain, unfortunately.
You personally, you're all Bitcoin, you're holding forever, but you do have a investment fund or just an investment arm of the entity that is Pomp. How have you changed? How have you positioned yourself personally for the end of the year, or what's one change you've made?
No change, really. I mean, I bought some more Bitcoin earlier this year. I tend to think that, it was undervalued just because it had crashed so much. And in the past, buying it kind of, near bottoms of bear markets seemed to be pretty good and work out. And so that was really the only thing that I did in kind of the Bitcoin space. Outside of that, I've been doing a lot of investing in early stage venture capital, building a lot of businesses, stuff like that. But in Bitcoin specifically, I don't know if it's necessarily a change, just, bought more Bitcoin.
Final question to you, and this has nothing to do with Bitcoin, just it has to do with you, more life advice. Finish this sentence. I became successful when I understood blank.
It's all on you. You either succeed or you fail based on your actions. And there's a lot of people who believe in luck, but as we've seen over and over again in the research, luck is not real. When you walk across the street and you get hit by a car, and I do the same thing and I get hit by a car, and let's say we both lose our legs, you may say to yourself, man, I was really unlucky to be walking across the street right now. And now I lost both my legs. But when I walk across the street and I lose both my legs, I may say, man, I'm really lucky to be alive. And so luck is this psychological concept. It's all about our opinion and our reaction to events that occur. But what most people confuse is probability and luck. Probability is a mathematical equation. What's the probability that you'd be walking across the street at the exact same time a car was going to come and it was going to hit you? And so by understanding that luck is not real, then you can say, okay, well, what will determine my outcome if it's not luck? And it's your actions, your decisions. And so the beauty of that is it's on you. If you bet on yourself, if you make the right decisions, if you go and you do the right things, then you can create a better life and a better opportunity for yourself. The downside to that is you can't just sit back and, cross your fingers and hope that, the great luck God is going to smile down on you. And so you got to do work. You got to make those decisions. And so once you start to understand like you're in control of your future, I tend to think that people really focus. They start to increase their chances of success. And what I've seen over and over again is that they end up actually realizing whatever their dreams are.
I love it. Links for your stuff down below. Thanks.
Pretty awesome interview actually with Mr. Anthony Pomp. You know what? I always wonder when I'm like listening to these guys and they just continuously purchase more Bitcoin and whatever, just continuously invest. They never talk about selling Bitcoin because they want to hold it their maxis, right? That's just how it is. Where do they hold their Bitcoin? They have a ledger, or do they do like paper wallets? Like, how do they hold it? I really would love to know that, to be honest, because I wonder if the ledger thing affects them. Like if they were nervous about losing their crypto because of that whole ledger seed phrase bullshit. I don't know. Strange. All right. Let's see. So we had, there was some other article here. Bitcoin mining becoming more environmentally friendly. And when I clicked on this initially, I was thinking this might have been something to do with like the new efficient miners that are coming out, kind of like the Jazz Miner X16Q or whatever from Jingle Mining. This, I know they said they were going to be coming out with a Bitcoin miner, Jazz Miner at some point, but I don't think this is about that. It's just in general. Bitcoin mining's environmental impact has always been a controversial topic. On the one hand, critics emphasize that securing the Bitcoin network takes more power than some whole countries. Let me see. Annual electricity power consumption. Let's see. Mr. Condibits, thanks for the DKK 20. Appreciate you, buddy.
A0, Rude finally joined the show.
Mr. Rudputs, thanks for showing up. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much, Mr. Condibits. All right. On the other hand, it says much of the crypto community argues that it is necessary activity that has enabled the Bitcoin blockchain to remain extremely resilient against external attacks with an almost 99.99% uptime throughout over 14 years of its history, which is pretty actual. This is impressive. This is really impressive, actually. Like the fact that Bitcoin is so secure in what it is, like the programming alone, that nobody can like really duplicate it to this extent. It's quite I guess just I don't even know the word for it. It's weird. It's awesome. It's excellent. Somebody else give me a word, because I was thinking of a word, but I just lost it. However, recent developments in the market have provided an opportunity for participants to make Bitcoin mining finally sustainable. Bitcoin mining doesn't deserve its bad reputation, it says. Before going over the benefits themselves, it's essential to first get some facts straight about Bitcoin mining with comparison to nation's energy consumption and estimates that a single BTC transaction has a carbon footprint of nearly 820,000 Visa transactions. It should be highlighted that this activity doesn't actually produce any emissions. And that's very true. It's just that's all background, like more or less computers. Well, I mean, does it though? Carbon footprint nearly. I mean, I guess that really doesn't have anything to do with the energy stuff, right? Instead of this dirty work is done by the power plants to supply the electricity to the mining rigs. Similarly to households or other business entities, miners only use the electrical infrastructure that exists in any given location. Ever since Tesla stopped accepting Bitcoin payments in May 2021, citing environmental concerns, many have jumped on the bandwagon to criticize the blockchain's network's energy consumption. However, while it's important to address Bitcoin mining's high electricity usage, it should not have done in a vacuum, as it is not the only power-hungry industry out there, which we No, I kind of want to see, according to Bitcoin Mining Council, BTC mining consumes only a fraction of energy required to power industries such as construction, 3.77%, finance and insurance, 4.45%, shipping, 5.41%, and aviation, 5.43%. It even takes nearly 2.6 times the electricity to mine gold than to secure a Bitcoin network. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know that. It takes nearly 2.6 times the electricity to mine gold than to secure the Bitcoin network. I mean, that makes sense though. That makes sense. I mean, they're straight up digging for gold, right? And that's without even discussing the disposal of electronic devices, as well as the agriculture and livestock industries, which are among those of most significant environmental footprints. Considering the above, it seems unfair to point out Bitcoin mining's high electricity usage without mentioning how much power other industries consume each day, and that is so true. Mining is becoming an increasingly sustainable industry. Despite controversies around the topic, the fact remains that it takes a significant amount of electricity to secure to maintain the Bitcoin network. The question is how to make Bitcoin more sustainable. One solution would be to combine Bitcoin mining with other business activities in a beneficial manner. For example, hydro-cooling mining farms can supply heat to greenhouses, fish farms, buildings, and even entire communities, while only 8 watts miners are needed to warm a 10,000 square foot greenhouse. Increasing water temperature by 10 degrees Celsius via mining rigs can shorten the period of growth of salmon in fish farms by up to 3 times. Really, that's kind of neat. Another potential use case includes developing small hydropower plants to consume electricity with local communities. Damn, this article is ridiculously long. I guess I'm like right there though. At the same time, research is hold on, where did I just end up? Right here. Using associated petroleum gas, APG, to power Bitcoin mining rigs is also a key highlight in this field. As you may already know, APG is a byproduct of oil drilling. As it is not always worthwhile for producers to use it, they regularly burn it on site. Really? I didn't know that. The later process is called gas flaring, which led to 2.7 billion tons of CO2 equivalent emissions in 2021, along with the gas wasted in venting and methane leaks. I didn't know that. Instead of wasting their resources, Bitcoin miners can transform APG into energy to power their rigs. By preventing flaring, this activity can have a favorable effect on the environment. In fact, a report revealed that Bitcoin mining can decrease the percentage of flared gas by each oil producer by 80%. At the same time, researchers have also found that it is by far the most cost-efficient way to decrease emissions, surpassing the values of wind and solar by multiple times. This is probably why many smaller oil rigs and gas companies in the United States are mining BTC with flared gas. Did you guys know that? Did anybody know that? I'm reading this for the first time, so that's kind of crazy. The road to a greener Bitcoin, it says Bitcoin miners have been migrating to countries where they have access to cheaper energy in the form of renewables. This has presented an opportunity for the market participants to increase the industry's sustainability. With innovatives, is that how you say that? With innovatives like preventing gas flaring and combining it with other business activities, the long-term goal is to make Bitcoin mining eco-friendly. Ideally, every industry should become as sustainable as possible while minimizing the harm caused to the environment. Putting in effort to make this possible is what being responsible market participants is all about. Bitcoin mining is already doing a lot to transform the energy sector due to miners being very flexible in their electricity consumption. And as this industry's sustainability improves in the years ahead, it will attract many large-scale investors who are interested in investing in eco-friendly businesses. So that's kind of I didn't know that about the gas flaring stuff, and I didn't know they were already using this APG shit to power Bitcoin mining rigs. Did you guys know that? Did anybody know that? Condibits, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. I never claimed to be a good reader. But whatever. All right. Anyways, that whole article, actually, I left the link in the description below if you guys are interested in checking that out. But I thought that was pretty interesting overall. For years, yeah, Musk Miner uses flare gas to power their miners. Dude, that's a good, you know what? That's very true. You know, Musk Miners, that's where I got my L7 from. Hold on. muskminers.com. They actually have a picture of it. Now that you say that, right here. They show a video of their facility. Yeah, right here. Right there. Is that the flare gas stuff? How does that work though? That's crazy. Your friend Andy made a video about it a few years ago. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's really cool. Guys, Musk Miners, they actually have really good deals on hardware usually. Things are usually pretty cheap. Let's see where things are at real quick. And then I got to get out of here. $1,600, $1,700 for an S19 90 terahash. That's not too bad. Man, it's crazy how cheap these things got. Crazy. Mr. Rude Puts, appreciate the 249 super chat. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much. Let me
Woman Corndabits thanks I to the Eagle Smeagol.
I love how that guy says Smeagol. It's so funny. Where's the L7? Right here. So the Antminer L7, the 9300 mega hash, they have 5480, $5,480. That's pretty good, actually. That's so cheap, man. These things used to be 20 or yeah, like 27 grand or something crazy. The L7 9050, $5,500. It's so cheap. This is the one I have. This is the one I have right here, but it gets like 9,200 or so. Mr. Condibits, thanks to the 20 DKK, and Mr. Dan Ruggs Gensler. Appreciate you both.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Mr. Rudd puts you as well. You're awesome, buddy. Man, so that's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Let me see what else you guys got. If you have any questions.
Smeagol is my dad.
Smeagol is my dad. Oh my god. If you guys have questions, ask away in the chat. Feel free. But that's kind
A
of
to the O, let's effing go.
A to the O, let's effing go. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for the super chats. You guys are awesome. You don't have to do that. But anyways, man, I gotta get back to daddy duty. The bread is coming in today. It is. Happy Thursday, all of you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. Uses flare gas lighter. Nice. That flare gas, I didn't even know that was really being actually used. I want to know how they use it now over at their facility. You know what? I'm going to check out my friend Andy. I'm going to check out that. Hold on. Let me go to YouTube quick and see if I can find it. I do have to jet soon, but my friend Andy. So he made a video, you said? Let's see. He made a video. Am I subbed to this guy? I am. Videos. Say it was a year ago? About a year ago? Secret Bitcoin mining. Is this it? Mr. Fully Electric? You're in the chat still, right? Oh man. Over a year. I think it was more than that. Let's see. Ooh, right here. Ah! They burn natural gas. Oh, this dude. This guy. Who's this guy? I know this guy. He made fun of the hobbyist once. I thought it was hysterical. I clicked on his video and he gave hobbyist shit like 5 seconds in. I was like, what the hell? Oh, it's so funny. I didn't even know he knew who it was. But your friend Andy's the guy on the left. This is kind of cool. I wanna
get all these things turned on. We have 1.2 petahash. 1.2 petahash on the SHA-256. Bitcoin mining.
Weird.
The envelope burning.
Let me
the sound barrier. Hey.
Oh yeah, Musk miners. Here we go.
Musk miners turned an oil site into a Bitcoin mine.
Oh, I fucking hate Google. Hold on. God damn it. What's the timestamp? 2 minutes? All right, 2 minutes in. I gotta get out of this. Brave browser. Need to use Brave browser for whatever reason. So stupid. All right, I want to see this.
Gas that was going to be flared off, which is going to be flared off no matter what. So they'll divert that gas, run it through a generator to run Bitcoin miners.
Deep in the Texan desert, there's not much except for heat and dust. But if you know where to look, you might find gold. Well,
holy
digital
shit.
gold.
Look at that place. God damn facility. Holy hell.
Bitcoin.
Musk miners turned an oil site into
He used the same noise as my super chat thing. I was like, what the hell?
a Bitcoin mining facility. This site was just burning or flaring its natural gas because that's what most of these sites do. Now it's not just being wasted. This site has a purpose. This is advanced Bitcoin mining. So we showed up to get in on some mining and see what pro Bitcoin mining is all about. And just about everywhere you look around here, there are boxes and boxes of Antminers, what is primarily going into this container are S19, cool. Bitmain, Antminer, Bitcoin mining, ASICS, and they are everywhere. Boxes everywhere, hundreds and hundreds.
So I don't know what their rate is, but I know Musk Miners does have a obviously mining facility, and they do hosting for people.
The miners are going into this thing. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be loud, and it's going to be hot. And now I am inside the mining container, but I'm not alone. I'm here with Space Design Warehouse.
Hello.
Hey, speaking of, there he is. So we are here in, where are we? Outside of
we are in West Texas.
West Texas.
I think that's as far as we're gonna go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this whole thing, but we should watch this sometime. That's so cool. Yeah, we're gonna watch this. We'll watch this next time because I just don't have time today. But that's crazy. I didn't realize that they actually did that, burning the gases. The gas, what is it? Gas flaring they call it. Pretty interesting. I'll put this link in the chat actually for you guys if you want to go watch it on your own. Go check it out. So Musk Miners is they are, again, they're awesome guys over there. They really are. They're the ones that sent me the L7 for the review, and yeah, I more than appreciate them as people. They're awesome. They really are, and they have good deals. Just like Endless Mining, actually. Endless Mining and Musk Miners are really close in comparison when it comes to like finding the best deals for ASICs that I've found, anyways, in the U.S. that like doesn't slam you with tariffs and all that bullshit. You know what I mean? They get like pallets of these miners and they can sell them to you guys with all the tariffs and all that bullshit included. Let's see. Musk Miners 8 to 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour hosting rate. Really? Wow. That's, dude, you know what? I didn't even look. I probably could have. Let me see, actually. Let me see. Oh shit, they have the freaking site right here. The 2 videos right here, bro. Oh man, that'd be so cool to go check it out. But where, how'd you know we have a 5 unit minimum hosting availability now? So that you have to have 5 units minimum, which is, I mean, I understand that. That kind of makes sense. But where did you find the price? And a 3 unit minimum on our off-grid facilities. Sorry, on our on-grid facilities, rather. 5 unit minimum for our flare gas mining location. Jeez, that's crazy. That's so cool. That is so cool. Why wouldn't they say what the price is? That's crazy. Don't trust, verify. Are you doubting me? Yes. I'm questioning you. Yes, 100%. BTC is bad for the environment. People hate this kind of stuff. Yeah, no. I mean, let's be real. Anything's bad for the environment. Like, there's so much shit that's bad for the environment, man. It's crazy. But yeah, it's kind of nuts. I just like the fact that they're coming out with better and better ways, more efficient ways to actually mine Bitcoin. It's pretty cool. And it would be neat to see how little the electric cost is over the course of time with Bitcoin mining and the block reward halving, and seeing how the network sustains itself and people actually will still continue to actually, you know, support the network. I mean, as a home miner, it might be a little tough, but situations like that, I mean, why the hell wouldn't they be able to do it? Kind of crazy. Financial failure. You know, your brain already wants to have a go at it. Why? What is he saying? What is he saying? A lot of my Thursdays are usually the worst. No, come on, financial failure. You'll have a good day today. Some costs as bit caps, so that's not bad. What are you guys talking about? Let me see. I have no idea. I have no idea what you guys are even talking about in the chat. Crazy. Oh, I've seen that before. Said financial failure. Yeah, that video is pretty cool. That's actually pretty awesome. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. Exxon had a small project doing this too, I believe. Yes, Exxon did actually. They had man, they announced that somewhere. Where the hell was that? Was that at one of those conferences? I think it was at one of those conferences. Exxon talked about doing that. Exxon and Bitcoin. Here, let's see. This is what I could find for that. Exxon is mining Bitcoin in North Dakota as part of its plan to slash emissions. I'm assuming they're doing the same thing, the shedding stuff. The top of the oil gas producer in the U.S. is piloting a project to mine Bitcoin in North Dakota, according to people with knowledge of the matter. For over a year, Exxon has been working with gross, I don't know how to say that, Energy Systems, a company based in Denver, said the people who asked not to be named because the details of the project are confidential. What? Who cares? Let's see. All right, so yeah, natural gas that would be otherwise be burned off into generators, which convert the gas into electricity used to power shipping containers full of thousands of Bitcoin miners. So that's it right there. Right there. Diverting natural gas that would be otherwise burned off into generators. That's super neat. 2021. Damn. They talked about this 2 years ago. Wow. That is pretty interesting. 2022, he proposed and led the first successful commercial technical demonstration of using Bitcoin proof of work mining as a viable alternative to natural gas flaring in the oil patch. Man. All right, so they already started doing it. That's crazy. Hell yeah. That's cool, though. I mean, hey, I'm excited to see where things go. I'm excited. All right, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for the super chats and everything today, guys. That like on the way out. Hopefully you learned something today about that the Bitcoin halving and how actually important it is. If you guys want to see anything, down in the description below, I have links to all the videos. Mr. Anthony Pompliano, I put his channel down there as well. So hopefully you guys have a good Thursday. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, and hopefully, yeah, have a good day at work. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.